It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sprint Lane podcast for Harness Racing New South Wales. This is the Sunday session. My name is Greg Hayes and it is great to have your company. What is this podcast all about? Well, over the next half an hour or so, I'm going to talk harness racing from the state of New South Wales. Most of the content from the podcast comes from the week's feature meeting at Club Menangle. The feature race was the $100,000 state final of the regional championships. The place getters from the 4 regional finals last week headed to Sydney to compete for another 100K, and Extreme C was the dominant favourite. He continues to get better and better, and again he showed last night he is ready to take on the next level of opposition. Last week on the podcast, I spoke with driver Brad Hewitt about the horse and his thoughts about sitting behind the 4-year-old. Well, this week, after the victory, I thought it'd be good to catch up with trainer David Hewitt. I've known Dave for probably 30 years now. They haven't said a lot about where he goes next, and I get the feeling the camp is playing their cards pretty close to their chest. But I'll ask Dave about the short-term plans for the horse and see if he has any more information today. He just keeps winning races by big margins. Yes, he was racing up to 70 rated horses, and he's going to have to take on better opposition to be winning races like the Eureka, but he surely looks ready to take that next step. While talking about Menangle, it was great to see Swayze back last night. Had to earn it. I guess up in that grade, there's never an easy one, but past performances didn't mean much last night, and I think a few thought if they were ever going to beat Swayze, it was when he was first up over the longer trip. However, there were no chinks in the armour on Saturday night, and he fought like a caged lion when challenged. It was a really good performance. Great to see New South Wales trainers enjoying success interstate. Rickie Alchin headed south to Victoria for the APG Bullion Final with the 3-year-old Soho Spectre. The New South Wales Derby winner added another $75,000 to his bank balance with an impressive all-the-way win. Interesting to see where Rickie goes next with him. Rickie loves a trip north during the winter and already has a team going that way, but it does seem logical Soho Spectre joins that team that's going north to Queensland. I guess Alchin has to decide whether he goes Queensland Derby or whether he chases a berth in the Rising Sun. I'll catch up with him on the podcast today. We'll have a chat about it. Just before we get into the show, I must congratulate Jess Tubbs and Greg Sugars after a huge night in New Zealand. I know they aren't from New South Wales, but in years past, to win a Rowe Cup and an Auckland Cup for an Aussie trainer would have been a massive achievement, and I'm just not sure people are recognising how big this is. Yep, fair enough, the Auckland Cup isn't as strong as it used to be, but it was a strong field that lined up. Better Eclipse has been around the block more than most, having raced in so many different locations throughout his career. And Just Believe just keeps on keeping on. A lot of people are trying to compare him to Lyle Creek, and I'm all into comparing horses from different eras. It's what the media does. I think there was more depth in the Trotters ranks back in Lyle Creek's days, and he did a remarkable feat racing in all parts of the world and coming back to New Zealand, having to come off the Lasix. But I think to say Just Believe is a generational talent is right. The trip to Sweden last year has taken him to the next level, and you can put that all down to Tubbs and Sugars. Amazing to think what they have built in the last 6 or 7 years in the sport. Greg started out as a freelance driver, a very good one at that, but his career development has been remarkable, and the partnership with Jess has become one of the strongest units in the country. Congratulations to all involved. Huge achievement and must be recognised. What else is on the show today? I'll have the Menangle Express. Mr. T will be back to find a winner or two. He found a good one during the week at Bathurst and has definitely started to close that gap between us in our tipping challenge. I'll have a full wrap of the fantasy harness racing, so plenty to get through. Let's start by catching up with trainer of Extreme C, David Hewitt. Well, will we ever see the bottom of Extreme C? He just keeps getting better and better, and tonight he takes out the state final, and he looked to have 3 or 4 gears up his sleeve again. Dave Hewitt's the man who trains the horse, and he's joining me to have a chat. Congratulations, Dave. Well done.
Thanks, Greg.
He looks a pretty special racehorse.
Yeah, no, well, back a little while ago, we just thought this series will just be a good experience for him, just a bit of racing under his belt, and it's turned out just that way. He's just getting better with every run, and his manners have been good. So we're real happy about all that.
Mate, when you first started him, going back those 10 starts, did you know that he had a big motor?
Look, you never find out too much at home. You just do your normal work like the rest of them. We knew he went good, so but we knew he was fast, but just didn't know how strong he was. And every time he's raced, we can just see he's got plenty of bottom, you know.
Yeah. He does look to be a pretty special horse, and of course he comes from that Red Sea family. Are you starting to get Red Sea feels about him?
Yeah, well, a lot of people have asked me that, and it's 30 years in the difference, but it's modern day horses and that. I think that the good ones will always be good, but Red had interrupted sort of career, and I'm sure he would have been even better if he could have just raced on us with no problems. So, but this bloke's just doing everything we've asked him. So, real happy.
Just going back to Red Sea, like he had problems in all his legs, didn't he? He was a very like an injury plagued pacer. He had all sorts of issues.
Yeah, no, it was like he had 3 starts, 3 wins as a 2-year-old, and won the sapling like really impressively. And then a fortnight later or 10 days later, I just put him in the cart for the first time, and he broke stride 3 times in the first lap, and I just knew there was something wrong. And he had a ligament torn in his knee, and so that was the start of the things going wrong. And he didn't race at all as a 3-year-old, and just only 3 starts as a 4-year-old with more complications, But anyway, he went on and won 10 out of 10 as a 5-year-old. So, but then just intermittently raced after that. So he never showed what he really was, just because of the interrupted career.
Were all the injuries related to that first one in his knee, or did he just have all different ones?
All different ones. Pretty unreal, all different. Yeah.
So you've had a lot of success with this family. It's obviously a very strong line.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of, another half-sister that only had 1 start that I really liked. She had an annular ligament problem, and but she was probably as good as some of the others. And she couldn't go in foal either, that mare. So she was a waste. Blue, so her name was, and So Jaguar C won 9 out of 17 starts, and only out of the placings a couple of times. There's just been so many of them with good ability, and but it's good to have one special like this anyway. Yeah,
for sure and certain. Turning back the clock. Mate, he just looks like he's ready to go to these big races. Obviously, he's already into the Eureka. What's next in store for him? Will he go to Queensland?
Yeah, well, we said before the race, tonight's race, we'll just give him a week off now and sum things up. And but he seems to have pulled up really bright and fine. So, we've just got to talk about all that now.
It's not something. Well, he obviously hasn't been over raced. He's only had the handful of starts, and he's got the Eureka coming up, and obviously all roads lead to that being the world's richest harness race. So, that's obviously the main target on the calendar, surely.
Yeah, it is. That's the number one target. So, but just through the winter, we're just going to have him up, sort of ready. Not let him off too far anywhere. So he's ready to go by September.
Is he a smart horse around the stables? Does he look after himself, or he obviously was a little bit immature when he started his racing career? And is he a big kid? What's he like when he's around the stables?
Yeah, he's got plenty of character. He's a lively little fellow, so he is. And but just had a night, and we've noticed each time the races, he loves company. Just human company. Like he'll just put his head down and be really, as quiet as anything, quiet as any horse you'd ever like to see. But just left alone, he can be fairly lively.
Mate, you're a very good driver in your own right. Do you get nervous sitting in the grandstand watching Brad do all the moves for you on the track?
Yeah, well, Brad's driving as good as anyone around, and we just I still just for the horse, just not Brad's driving. I'm not nervous about that, but just the result. You just want to get the job done, and couldn't be happy with it, with everything that's happened anyway.
Especially with the formation, the 8 and 4 for the last couple of weeks. He's had the 2 back row draws to overcome. There's been a lot more traffic than we'd normally be used to at Menangle, and I know I've been carefully watching him, so I can imagine it's a lot more for you in the first couple of 100 metres of the race to make sure nothing goes wrong in front of him and he stays out of trouble and gets around them safely. At least his own manners have been good like that all the way through. When he's behind the gate and that, he's never done anything wrong there. So that gives you a bit of confidence that he's going to be nice and chill there, and not do anything wrong himself anyway. But like I said, just other traffic, that's always in anyone's mind, that's good. You got to negate that. So Brad's done all the driving on him. Any chance you'll come out and have a steer?
Just things that we're all going to make a decision on as it happens, from here on, if they both went to Queensland, Captain's Knock and this fella, we're just going to have to make a decision then. So we'll work that out in the next fortnight a month anyway. And
when Wayne contacted you about a start in the Eureka, did it come out of the blue, or had there been a few offers? Had people sort of been, making the phone call to see if you're interested? How did that all come about?
Wayne and Brother Byrne went to Wagga that day with, what's her name, the mare?
Oh, yeah, Jewel Melody.
Jewel Melody,
yep.
Yeah. And they just said, amongst themselves, she'll have to perform really well today for her to get their spot.
Yeah.
And it was probably a pretty hard race to judge her on, when they got home 25 something, and she went well and not beaten far. But they must have decided they'd be looking elsewhere, and it was the next race, that our bloke was in, and he just won so brilliantly, like he did. And, Wayne just said to us straight away, to Brad to start with, and Brad said, well, I've been going to approach you to tell you that he's a really good horse, keep your eye on him. And anyway, he saw us after the next race then and said he was very interested. He'd come and talk to us again about it. So that's how it all happened.
He looks a very special horse, and I was listening to the guys on Sky tonight, and they're saying he's building a bit of a fan club. He's that sort of horse because of the way he's winning. He's beating nice horses by 20, 25 metres every time he goes around. So he's going to build that fan club, and plenty of people are going to watch races because he's going around. Great story, Dave. We wish you all the best of luck. And, the Eureka's are still a few months away, but the world's richest harness race could be coming back to Goulburn. Fingers crossed anyway.
Fingers crossed, Greg, yeah.
Off the back straight, they pass the 428.3. And Soho Spectre, the leader, to the final turn, 2 metres D-row under pressure. Ravishing Sloy right there. Ideal Timing hooks out 3 wide. A lot like Louis makes ground the pegs into the straight. Leader though, Soho Spectre. Ravishing Sloy 4 metres away, but gets to the outside, runs on well. It's Soho Spectre in front from Ravishing Sloy. Soho Spectre clear of Ravishing Sloy, and Soho Spectre wins it. Ravishing Sloy 2 metres away second, 8 metres away Ideal Timing third, and then
another feature race win for Rickie Alchin, this time in Victoria, with Soho Spectre taking out the APG Gold Bullion 3-year-old Colts and Geldings final, and a $150,000 race. Soho Spectre, too good. Congratulations, Rickie. Well done.
Thanks, Rick.
It's been a really good ride with this 3-year-old. He's had a remarkable season.
Yeah, he has. He probably, at 2 barrier draws were detrimental to him. So he never actually got to win a feature race. But, the stars have aligned so far at 3, and he's managed to pick up a derby, and tonight, a good quality money race in the APG 3-year-old division.
So after tonight's victory, what sort of races can you target?
Oh, look, we're in quite a good position with him, I think. The race like the Rising Sun in Queensland has been thrown out. I have spoken to, people on the board at Racing Queensland to say that Robert Watson is interested, and obviously Luxor Turner's already been invited. So it would be quite a feather in my cap if, to get both 3-year-olds through. But that's not set in concrete. Obviously, not Redcliffe, just the Queensland Derby, including the Redcliffe Derby. And then later in the season, you got the Big Bread and Breeders' Crown.
You haven't overtaxed him. He's only, he's halfway through his 3-year-old season and he's only had the 16 starts. So it's not like he's been round in too many street brawls.
No, he hasn't. And that was probably a decision of mine, Greg, to miss the Breeders' Crown at the end of last year at 2. He won the consolation of the Big Bread at Bendigo. And I said to Rob, this horse just isn't a happy horse. I think we should give him a really good spell and set him for the Derby. It's hard to miss a race like the Breeders' Crown when you're in form. But I do feel that period of 4 months has really helped this horse. He came out and won the Derby, and now he's won, I think it was only his 4th run back tonight, or 5th run maybe, back at 3. And that period of the four months where he got to go out and rest has been the making of the horse.
Mile rate tonight, 153.8, but his closing sectionals 28.3, and then shot the lights out 26.5. So he's got that point-to-point speed that you need to be competitive in these big races that he's going to step into over the next 12 to 18 months.
His biggest asset is his speed, Greg, and that's how he won the Derby. He had a soft run 3 fence. He got out late, but that 200-metre burst is what won him the Derby. And, not very often you come to Melbourne and you get a reasonably easy lead and then get a reasonably easy middle half. I was sort of giggling to myself, actually, knowing, the speed I had under him. When we did get that easy sectional today, I was pretty confident.
Rob Watson is his owner, and Rob had a spot in the Eureka, but he's already used that up. Was there any discussion between Rob and yourself about whether this horse takes on these top 4-year-olds as a 3-year-old?
Yeah, there was. Rob actually, last year, he had my brother's horse, My Ultimate Ronnie. And at the time, Soho Spectre was, showing good things. He'd won a couple of nice races, and he said to me, could this be my horse next year? I said, I think he's got the ability, Rob. Just keep him in mind. And then he rang me this year. He said, I've got the opportunity to take Never Ending. What's your thoughts? And I said, take him, because Soho Spectre's 12 months away. He's definitely got the ability, but as was shown with the 3-year-olds last year, the Lost Storm and Captain Hammerhead, I think it really hurt them, that strong 2400. So I went away from it.
So obviously still got plenty of races as a 3-year-old. You've got options, and then 4-year-old looks to be the year where you can make some really big money now in harness racing in Australia, because you've got the Chariots of Fire and then you've got the Eureka. So if you can look after them as a 3-year-old and build them up and then really let them go when they turn 4.
Yeah, that's right. Like we've still got, a few feature races at 3, and once again, we don't want to overtax this horse. I've always had a really, really high opinion of him. So I think, picking out select races in the next 6 months will be something we have to sit down and just pick the ones we want to be in. But I do feel that he has the speed and the strength, like the trailing strength, to make an open class horse, and a race like the Chariots of Fire definitely will not be out of his reach.
Mate, while you've been away, the team's on fire at home. You always talk about how strong your team is of workers, and they're doing a remarkable job. Van Basten tonight won the consolation of the regional championship state final. And it was a great drive by Ash DeLoza, her first Saturday night winner. So a celebration all round for the stable.
Yeah, it was, Greg. I've always been one to compliment my staff, and I think the key to being successful is to have good staff around you. Treat them well, and make it a team environment. And Ricky Hunt is honestly just we'd be buggered without him. But Ash has been with us about 3 years now, and I helped to get a license early days, and I helped recently get an A-grade license. And she's, in the last 12 months, she's really improved as a driver, and not only myself, but a lot of other trainers are starting to put her on. So it was really good for Ash to get a first Metro winner on one of my horses. And young Declan Murphy, he's just started with us now too, and Declan's a really good kid from Melbourne, and he's happy to be part of a team that's including him, and I think in the future there'll be some opportunities for him as a concession driver.
Interesting to hear. The reports out of Victoria about Declan are very good. I'll tell you another horse that's flying in your stable at the moment and has been winning is Montalbano. Did put two together at headquarters and has since run second at Newcastle and then third again tonight. Montalbano is another horse that is racing extremely well in the stable. Not one of your stars, but has banked nearly $165,000 in stakes. So another good horse that's racing well.
He's turned into a very consistent horse, Greg. Early days, he wasn't a likeable horse, and we actually had him rode off a few times. But he has matured at 4, and he really thrives on this mile racing. He seems to be able to follow the speed, and I think one day he's going to get the right run, and he's going to win a race in good time. His future probably looks like it will be in North America, but just whenever that time comes, we're not sure. But yeah, he's just a really good Saturday night Metro horse at the moment.
Mate, wouldn't be a Rickie Alchin interview without a question on Luxa Turner. What's the latest with her?
Yeah, look, she just had an easy 10 days out at the Southern Farm at Coverty there, the Oaks, sorry. And she's back. She hobbled this morning. Obviously, she's been invited to the Rising Sun, as I touched on. Look, she may go to the Redcliffe Oaks. She may not. If she doesn't go to the Redcliffe Oaks, she'll have a couple of solid trials here at Menangle, maybe a solid trial at Albion Park, and then first up into the Rising Sun, then Queensland Oaks.
All right, so she's got a number of targets to aim at over the coming months. Mate, congratulations, winning feature races in Victoria, winning races at Menangle tonight. Well done, and we'll see you when you get back.
Thanks, Greg.
Menangle Express time. Race 1, the favourite was Bluto at $2.70. There was speed early from Bluto, who crossed No Heartthrob comfortably before then grabbing hold. Behind them on the pegs was Stravinsky, Montalbano, Tuppence, Running Line, Joni N, Wave the Bill, Saginaw, Jillaby Nitro. Double Encounter was caught 3 wide, tried to ease, couldn't get back, so had no choice but to go forward. 28-1 and then 29 set it up for a sprint home. Double Encounter finally got to the chair at the cages, but as soon as that happened, the Running Line kaput. 27-2 third quarter, Bluto snuck away. No Heartthrob was able to slipstream him. Stravinsky came off the inside from 3 pegs, and as he started to come home, hard on No Heartthrob came away from the inside and reeled in Bluto. 26-6 home, 150.9 overall. Good effort, the winner. Montalbano hit the line well. He's shown that his recent form's very solid. Tuppence is going really well. Long price again on Saturday night, but he's going to pinch one soon. He followed the pegs throughout. Race 2, fave was Swayze at $1.70. If you wanted to get forward here, Malcolm's Rhythm, Simply Sam and Narano, while Max Delight and Swayze were trapped off the pegs. Max Delight wasn't going to let Swayze go, so Max Delight worked to the front before Swayze then put the acid test on and finally got the lead as they went past the post with a lap to go. Fast lead time, 48-2, so on the pegs it was Swayze, Max Delight, Narano, Simply Sam, Malcolm's Rhythm, Arden's Ace and I'm in Trouble. Off the peg, Star Major, Last Tango in Heaven and Boom. First half was fast, 28-8, 28-6. And then hard-ass Swayze to go at the cages, 27-6 for the third quarter. Last Tango in Heaven came out 3 wide before the bend. Bridge too far for it, so the Running Line stalled. Swayze needed to dig deep in the straight. He rolled off the inside. That left a big gap for Simply Sam, who fired up along the inside. Swayze too strong, 27 home, 152.1 for the mile over the longer trip first up. Simply Sam low flying at the moment, going really well. Old Malcolm's Rhythm has put 2 good runs together back to back, and Arden's Ace, I know I highlight him all the time, but he went well up in grade and he can win again in the right company. Race number 3, favourite Classy Operator at $2.50. Speed from Classy Operator, Arakadan and Colonia Courage early. Classy Operator got to the pegs but spent some petrol. 25.9 off the gate. They went into Indian File. Classy Operator, Rakadan, Colonia Courage go away again. Have you checked in? Ricochet, Lose Dream, Hail Lucius, Dance and Deliver. Before the half, Hail Lucius was pulled out of the race, stood down for 21 days. Steward's report will tell us more. 29.3 second quarter, near the half. Have you checked in? Started the running line with Ricochet and Lose Dream jumping on for a cart home. Have you checked in? Was being tapped along at the cages and Grimer did his thing. On the leader, he tried to sneak away from the rest with Classy Operator. Round the home turn, he looked vulnerable, but with nothing was coming out wide strongly. 27.8 third quarter. Ricochet was out 3 wide. Colonia Courage was looking for a run, couldn't get one. Shades of Heaven got to the outside from a mile back and worked home nicely. But Classy Operator lived up to his name. 27.6 final quarter, mile rate 150.6. Forget Colonia Courage. Well, it looked to have a bit to offer, but couldn't get out. Couldn't really tell how it would have hit the line had it got a gap. Runner-up gets a bit of praise too. Good effort from it. Getting to the outside and working home okay. Huge effort under the circumstances, really. You have a look at the clock. Race 4, Tay-Tay, $2.80 favourite. She was part of the early speed battle. Arden's Delight, Sea Story and I'm Prezi Bell all wanted a piece of the action early too. Fast first quarter, 26. Tay-Tay led on the pegs. I'm Prezi Bell, Arden's Delight, Sea Story, Playful Miss Little Bliss, Running Line, Windy Hill Tara, Heavenly Holly, Teresa Love. 29.3 second quarter. They started to wind it up from there. Heavenly Holly looked to be struggling before the turn. That forced Teresa Love out before it wanted to go. 28.5 round the side. Leader snuck away. And Arden's Delight had to wait for Windy Hill Tara to drop off before getting out and chasing the leader. Easy win for Tay-Tay. 26.6 home, 150.4. Fast times all night, really. Arden's Delight was strong to the line. I thought Teresa Love did a good job after being flushed out before the turn as well. Race number 5, consolation of the state final. Van Basten was the fave at $3.30. Speed early from Has the Courage and JJ Benny. Van Basten was caught out wide, but Ash DeLoza didn't panic and let it slide forward. Keep in mind the 8 and 4 combination here. 8 off the front line and 4 off the back row. On the pegs, they settled like this. Has the Courage, Craftsman's Charlie, Here Comes Bobby, Pete's Big Jim, Major Mickey, Deepwater Cam, Running Line Van Basten, Wild Imagination, JJ Benny, Rouge Bling, Corby Stumbler and Speculating. No moves in this one at all. Lead time 49.1, then 31.2, 29.8, so there was not much speed. Van Basten got serious at the cages, levelled up. Wild Imagination was gone in the 1-1. That allowed Craftsman's Charlie to get off the pegs and track Van Basten. That also forced some moves back in the field. Corby Stumbler came wide, 27.8 round the side. Rouge Bling and Corby Stumbler locked wheels back in the field, but I don't think they were going to be in the finish. Craftsman's Charlie looked the winner halfway up the straight, but Van Basten fought very hard on the inside and proved too strong. Major Mickey hit the line strongly for 5th. The pegs dominated that race, if you take the winner out. 28 seconds home, mile rate of 156.1. Good effort by Van Basten under the circumstances. Race 6, the big one, Extreme C, was the $1.05 favourite. Speed early from Major Reason and the Sid. Man from Bravos aggressive early from the second row and pushed through hard. They went quickly. Man from Bravos ended up rolling to the front. The Sid, Major Reason, Titafar, Joycey's Lad, My Ultimate Snowy, Terry Rama, Running Line, Heavenly Sign, Brooklyn's Best, Extreme C, Hunter Shannon, Foxy Dada. 47.3 the lead time, too quick. They backed it off to 31 seconds first quarter. Turning into the back straight, Extreme C took off, and by the time they got to the 900-metre mark, he was in front. 29.2 second quarter, then they got serious. The Sid was being flicked along at the pegs, on the pegs at the 800, and when they got to the cages, Extreme C took off. Sid was gone, so Heavenly Sign, who was in the chair, dropped to the pegs, which exposed Brooklyn's Best too early. Foxy Data, Terry Rama and My Ultimate Snowy were forced to peel wide. Extreme C was off and gone, 28.2, 27.3. Looked to have a few gears there unused in that victory. Another 25-metre win. Foxy Data charged home from the tail. Would have been a good race with the fave out, actually, because they hit the line in a blanket. Terry Rama finished 3rd, and it was his sort of race. He grinds home every week, well-suited in a race where they just blast home late. Mile rate 154.1. I noticed the stewards fined Hewitt $200 for his starting position. Harsh, but fair. He wanted to avoid any trouble early, so decided to stay a length off at the start, and the stewards pinged him. Race 7 On Deadline was the $1.95 fave. Speed early from a few. Vinky B, Our Vinny, and On Deadline. On Deadline got a cross, but was forced to earn it. Then came Vinky B, Outside Fighter, Big Black Diamond, and Set a Bellow. Running line, Our Vinny, Our Southern Star, Captain Blood, and Freddie Singh. Not a lot of moves in this one. 49.2 lead time, then 30.3 and 29.3. As they got to the turn, those in the running line, they all just fanned. 28 round the side. On Deadline looked vulnerable. Outside Fighter came off the inside and was in the clear, but Vinky B came out in front of it, and that probably cost Outside Fighter the race, I think. Everything was legal. In saying that, the move was legal, but if Outside Fighter had clear running, I think it wins. On Deadline was paddling. Outside Fighter showed his strength as he savaged the line, but On Deadline held on for that narrow victory. Second horse, Good. Thought Captain Blood hit the line okay. Up the straight out wide. 27.9 home for a 155.2 mile rate. Interesting to hear Nathan Turnbull say he needed to win that to be thinking about bigger races in Queensland before the race with BK on Sky. Race 8 was the trot. Royal Dan was the fave over the longer trip at $1.35. Jungle Eyes and Powder Keg galloped at the start. Speed from its Fergie time. Sunny G, Royal Dan early. Royal Dan found the top, and the rest went into Indian File. So Sunny G, It's Fergie Time, Majestic Trio, Utopia, London to a Brick, Courage Stride, Jungle Eyes, and Powder Keg. Lead time was good for the trotters, 50.2. The speed stayed on, 29.7 first quarter. It was constant. London to a Brick came off the inside and got to the wheel of Utopia and then went up in the air. Powder Keg galloped again. Royal Dan took off and set up a big lead at the cages, 28.3, then 28.9 round the side. He'd been used to mile racing, so it was going to be a long straight for Royal Dan. It's Fergie Time and Majestic Trio came off the pegs and came out after the leader. Majestic Trio really charged home, but Royal Dan was able to hold on. 29.4 final quarter, 156.5 the overall mile. Majestic Trio looked better in her action. Thought her effort was really good. Sunny G consistent, and Courage Stride hit the line okay too. Race 9, favourite Nicholas Cage at $2. Jack Callaghan was on a mission in this one and owned the race. There was some speed early from Nicholas Cage and Tishan Raider, who wanted to get to the front, but Nicholas Cage held in a very fast 25.9 first quarter. Pegs, it was Nicholas Cage, Lacey's Lad, Smooth Overarm, Sheffield Sparky. Running line, Tishan Raider, Our Uncle Jim, Robbie Rocket, Red Reactor, and Dark Terror. In saying that, there were gaps in the running line, so Tishan Raider was able to drop 3 pegs for a breather in the back straight. 27.9 second quarter, so the leader was really vulnerable. 25.9, 27.9. Sometimes I don't go that fast in a Miracle Mile. Tishan Raider came away from the inside, not wanting to be pocketed. Again, leading up the running line. Our Uncle Jim was out and running on the turn. 28.5 third quarter. And it was going to be a real slog up the straight. Nicholas Cage was able to find. Our Uncle Jim didn't give up, but never looked like reeling in Nicholas Cage. 28.4 up the straight, 150.7 overall with the race run upside down. Those quarters, 25.9, 27.9, then 28.5 and 28.4. Winner rolled off, but there was nothing on the pegs travelling well enough. Robbie Rocket looked to be a small chance soon after turning, but peaked on its run. I think Tishan Raider can pinch one when he draws to lead again. Just had to spend too many bickies trying to get to the front last night. Best win of the night, well, Extreme C did the same thing as he did last week, but I'll go Swayze. Super impressive. First up, he was there to be beaten and he was too strong. Best beaten performance of the night, I'll go with Simply Sam in the same race. Huge performance by that horse again. Settled one spot further back than would have been ideal. He might pick up a nice race at some stage in his career in Sydney. He looks like he's a jack of all trades. He can do a bit of everything. Best driver of the night. A lot of leaders won on Saturday, so I'm going to give this to Ash DeLoza. Drove Van Basten perfectly. Happy to work forward, sit in the chair, controlled the race, put the speed on at the right time, levelled up at the cages, had to lift Van Basten halfway down the straight when Craftsman's Charlie challenged. Good way to pick up her first Metro winner as a driver. So driver of the night, Ash DeLoza.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
That I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it, Dustin. That's all there is to it. A winner! Just like that.
And the winner is...
Mr. T found a winner last week. Where's Harry? Paid $2.60, so he shows a profit of $6, goes to minus 43. Both of mine beaten, so I'm now minus 25. Mr. T, 2 tips at Bathurst. Race 6, number 6, Uncle Crago. I'll give him one thing, Mr. T. He's super loyal. He sticks with his horses. He's been tipping this one a few times. He's going back to the well. Hasn't been placed in its past 3, but finds a very suitable race, Anthony Frisbee to drive. Race 6, number 6, Uncle Crago. And race 7, number 4, Renault Ace for Bernie Hewitt. It's only had the one run back from a spell, finished second. In fact, now it's had 2 seconds at its past 2 starts. Mr. T is hoping it can go one better at start number 5. Owned by the Loaders, out of kept in play. Maybe Wednesday night will be its night. Race 7, number 4, Reno Ace. My 2, I'm going back to Menangle, going to stick with the paces this week. Race 7, number 1, Bartello, made him a horse to follow in the Menangle Express recently. In fact, if he wasn't held up for a run, I think he would have grabbed Dance and Deliver in that race. Now, that form hasn't been too strong. Dance and Deliver came out and ran last on Saturday night. But I think with a repeat performance, Bartello can take some beating on Tuesday in weaker company. Race 7, number 1, Bartello. And race 8, number 2, St. Crusader. This horse has bounced between Clayton Harmey and David Alchin. Was an emergency on Saturday night. They opted not to take the run. There was a scratching. But they scratched as well. Does look very well placed in the race on Tuesday. Does have good gate speed. Is going to take a lot of beating if he races up to his best. So that is race 8, number 2, which is St. Crusader. Fantasy update. And actually, it's time to give the fantasy result. Well done to all the major winners. Well, the top 3 all get cash, and the top 10 all get a prize as well. In fact, top 100 all get a hat. So well done to Champo71, who finished first with 20,840. Mays second with 20,672. Manning 90 was third with 20,642. Waterfill-up was fourth. Boyle over fifth. In the Van 6th. SBT 7th. Matt McClure 8th. Will Norman, last year's winner, finished 9th. And Paddy B rounded out the top 10. So well done to all of those who picked up major prizes in the fantasy harness racing this season. Round 26, well done to Chickens Rock 1,012. And Toddy Riffick also picked up 1,012 points in the final round. Paddy B 1,005. My team, for the record, 76th with 18,356. All right, that just about wraps up the podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks to David Hewitt and Rickie Alchin for joining me on the podcast. And I look forward to your company next week with another episode of the Sundays session. I'll catch you then.